Hey everyone. Alright, so for question 2, we're asked first of all, so for part A, you gotta write the domain and the range. Okay, so for part A, it's these two guys right here. Okay, and the domain is just listing all the possible x values. And how we write it in our set notation, our domain is d colon curly bracket, and what's our domain? Here we have 1, 3, 4, and 6. Alright, and for our range, we're going to have all the possible y values. So if you look in this circle here, we have 1, 2, and 5. Great. Okay. Now part 2 for that is whether or not it is a function and justify your answer. Alright, so remember the definition of a function is every x, every input, can only have one output. So if we look at each number here in our input, 1, 3, 4, and 6, each of them only points to one y, one output, so we're good. So we'll say yes, this is a function. Okay, let's take a look at B. So our domain and range again. Here. Okay, so domain for B is going to be all possible x values. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then our range is going to be all possible y's. So 4, 5, 6. And part 2, is this guy a function? Well, let's remember, every x can only have one unique y. Well, if we look at the number 1, it has two y's, 4 and 5. So in that case, we'll say no, this isn't a function. Okay. Now let's check out C. So C says, so for a domain, our possible x values are 1, 2, and 3. And our range is all our possible y values, and in this case, we just have 4. Part 2 asks us, is this a function or not? Well, the biggest thing here is every x can only have one y. So let's look at each x. 1 only has one y, 2 has one y, 3 has one y. It doesn't matter that they all point to the same y. All that matters is every x only has one y for it. So it's okay if they're all the same y, that's fine. But if we had one pointing to 4 and to something else, then it wouldn't be a function. But in this case, every input has only one output. So in this case, we will say yes, this is a function. Okay. For D, part 1, let's write our domain. Okay, so domain is all possible x values, so that'll be 1, 2, and 3. Our range, our set of all y values will be 4, 5, and 6. Okay, actually one thing to check here, I just went ahead and wrote 1, 2, and 3, but in this case the domain, it actually would not include 1 and 3 because there's no arrows coming out of it. So it actually only includes the number 2. Sorry, let me draw that again. 2. Right. Then in this case, is it a function? Well, in this case, it won't be because we have one input points to multiple outputs. So that violates our definition of a function. So we'll say no, this is not a function.